times we had. The times that you and me had. Remember the times we had. The times that you and me had. Remember.
It was my senior year of high school. I really liked this girl who actually used to bully me back in middle school. Nothing too bad, but like she wasn't very nice to me. But eventually we became friends. She started inviting me over. We would cuddle. We'd make out like a little bit, but it was like nothing serious. And then one night, I was over at her house and she had me take my pants off. She told me she wanted to help me relax, and it was like very obvious what she wanted to do. Then she went to the bathroom real quick to pee, and then while I'm waiting, I hear chuckling from her window. I look to see her 3 friends recording me through the window. I put my pants back on. I'm scrambling to get out the door. I'm terrified. They share the video with the entire school. They print out pictures of it, put it everywhere around campus, and they started the rumor basically that I had been stalking her and that I got in her room by climbing through her window.
Sarah was finally home. Caillou was very happy to see her.
Caillou! Ni hao! What?
This is the story of when my neighbor made me watch lesbian porn from when I was 4 years old up until I was 10 years old. So she was a year older than me, and since we were around the same age, our parents had us hang out with each other. I remember that I was 4 years old because she was in kindergarten and I wasn't yet. I remember one day I was waiting for her to get off the bus, and when she got off the bus, she took me into her computer room. She locked the door and told me that I can't tell anybody what she's about to show me. So it started off with just looking up lesbians kissing on YouTube. And obviously I had no idea what this was because my family's very conservative and I never learned about that. So this would go on probably every single time that we hung out, which was probably every day. And she even forced me to watch it in my own house, but there was no lock on my door, so we would put my toy boxes in front of the door so nobody would come in. Honestly, when I think about my childhood, that's the only thing that I really think about. And then it started getting physical. The earliest memory of it being physical was in her backyard on her trampoline. She had me go in a corner where nobody would see us.
My friend's mom tried to stab me and my sister. Story time. Yes, honey, you heard that right. She tried to stab us with a knife. So at the time, me and my sister were 8 and 9 years old. And we went to the pool every single day. And we eventually made friends with this boy. We're gonna call him Tomato. Then our parents ended up making friends with Tomato's mom. Like, they ended up becoming really good friends. And after a couple months, Tomato eventually asked me and my sister to spend the night. Well, our parents surprisingly said yes. This is the one time, and the one time only, I wish my parents would have said no. Well, anyways, we went to the sleepover. By the way, it was our first sleepover we've ever been to. So we get there around 5 and we're having a blast. We made forts, we watched DT, we ate popcorn. For our first sleepover, it was going wonderful. However, the whole time we were at this sleepover, his mom was in her room. 11 p.m. comes around and the mom comes out of her room smelling like alcohol. She was drunk. And she comes out and she starts screaming at us. She thought we were home invaders. Then she goes in the kitchen and grabs a knife.
Story time about why my mom kicked me out when I was 16. So a little background information. This had all started as soon as my dad left my mom and I. I was like 13 around the time. Well, ever since then, my mom would have different guys in and out of the house all the time. Like, we were lucky if a month went by and she was still with the same dude. Which, I mean, I kind of get it because my dad did leave us for a woman that he had started another family with. But at the same time, it was just a whole mess. Anyway, so she had got with this new guy, and we're gonna call him Tyler. And by the way, the dudes that she would date, they would literally live at our house. Anyway, so a week after he moved in, I started getting really close to him, which usually never happens. Usually I would try to keep my distance because I knew how wrong it was of her having all these different guys in the house when I'm only 16. Anyways, every time that my mom would go to work, he would invite me to go see a movie, and he would just be really flirty with me. And he was only 6 years older than me, and my mom was 32. You do the math. Anyways, like for part 2. Part 3 about why my mom kicked me out when I was 16. So like I said, I'm laying under the bed, no clothes on. She asks where I am. And he's like, oh, she should be in her room. So he goes looking for me everywhere with her. And he's like, oh, well, maybe she's outside on the patio. And I don't know why the hell my mom's sister had a key to our apartment anyways. But she's still looking for me in the apartment and she looks under the fucking bed. And at first she's like, oh my god, what did he do to you? And I'm trying to tell her nothing, like I made that decision on my own. So she calls my mom right away. My mom comes home, she's screaming at me, and she kicks me out. So I go to my grandma's house, and I told my grandma what happened. And my grandma calls her, and she's like, it's not her fault that you gave her daddy issues. And I'm like, bruh, what the fuck? Child, anyways. So then she goes on Facebook and starts posting about how I'm a whore and a slut and how, like, it isn't her boyfriend's fault at all. So now I live